Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you guys are doing extremely well. So let's continue with this video. So in this video, we will learn about how we can use the browser navigation buttons with the Compose navigation. Okay. So before Compose Multiplatform 1.8.0, we were not having this option, this support. Okay. So in 1.8.0 Compose Multiplatform, so we got this support. So how we can do that, I will show you, so that URLs will look more natural. Okay, in the web. So this is the web version. This is the one of the apps which we developed in some of the previous videos. I have complete video on this, how I developed that, all platforms it's working. This is about the Compose Multi-Platform full crash course I have on my YouTube channel. I will put the link in the description. You can check that out. So suppose how it's showing now. If you see, I'm going to detail, but there are no changes in the URL. URL is same, and these buttons are not activated. These are called browser history. You can say navigation history buttons or browser history buttons. Okay, so they are not, we need to use our own buttons. Okay, so how we can do that, how we can support the browser history. Okay, so let's continue with that. So first of all, that for that we need to add few dependencies. So we need to make sure that, so if we go in the versions, if you see, we need to make sure we are using the navigation compose latest version 2.9.0 beta 01 or later. Okay, I think it was alpha 15 or later. Okay, so I'm using this latest version, and then I need to make sure I'm using the 1.8.0 Compose Multiplatform. These two dependencies you need to make sure. Okay, then now what we need to do is, in the main file of this web source set. So currently we have the JS support in this app, not Wasm support, due to few dependencies still not supporting. At that time I made that video, so that's why. So what we need to do, so we need to pass the nav controller from here. So for each platform we can pass, or maybe we can assign the default ones for other platforms. Okay, let's say, so we can pass it like for other platforms it will pick up default ones from here, and we need to use this one instead of this. Okay, so here what we need to do is we need to do few steps here. Let's pass that controller here, and then what we need to do, inside the launch defect unit, we need to do the setup once. Okay, so we need to bind window dot bind bind to navigation. This will do the magic. So this is needed for that with nav controller. Now it will be bind with, we need to accept this experimental composite browser history API, still experimental. Okay, so Now, even if just after adding this code, if I try to rerun it, maybe clean project. It's something now with K libraries. Let's try to delete this. So if you see now, it's bound to that root. Okay. If you see, there is a hash. So because it uses hash-based fragments for the browser history, you can read about them. The hash is required. As of now, I'm making this video. Hash is required for all the routes. Okay. Before the root name, we need to use hash. This is automatic. But if we want to do some customization, then also I will show you how we can do that. So if you see now, route is changing. Hash detail, then question mark recipe ID. These are the arguments or query parameters. Okay. So now if you see, I can use back. So now if you see, route is changing, but with hash. This is the hash based routing, hash fragments they are using. Okay, because they need something to detect the this route part. So they are using this because while reloading these things, they are using logic on basis of this in the compose to detect the route and navigate user to that route. Okay. So now if you see, it's working properly fine with these navigation controls. Okay. Now few things which we can discuss. So, so by default, what it do is this route it creates this one. So how it creates? Let me show you. Tabs navigation. So if you go here, this route. So there are two ways. So here we are using the string based routes, but we have type safe route as well. So in the string based routes, so it will directly picking up the route with hash. Okay. Then this with hash, then similar things. Just put the hash before this route. But in case of if we have type safe routing, there we have sealed classes with the serialization. So there it will add the serialized name. Suppose for this search, we have this path. Suppose what is the path of this screen class? There is like org.this.this. So it will add fully qualified name then. It will add this thing in the root. Like suppose here we have like this. Then we have suppose detail class. It will use them like this. And then this dots, this will be URL encoded. They will be replaced by some special character. So that is the default behavior. So in case of type safe, again, we have some option. We can use the serial name at the rate serial name annotation like this. So if we add something here, let's say detail or anything, so it will use that as the root instead of that class name. Fully qualified package name of the class. It will not use that in that case, but use the whatever we are specifying in the serial name. Okay. You can try out that with because here we don't have that type safe routing. Okay. You can try out that. And so now again the one important thing is like how we can implement a fully custom route. If we want our own route, how we can do that? So let's do that. Here we need to write some code for that. If you see here, get back stack entry route, it will provide get back stack entry. We can use this code block to implement our own logic. Okay, so I will show you. Let's say, so we need to parse it manually in that case. So that thing we will be doing it here. Entry dot destination dot route or empty. So now according to our conditions, let's say route dot starts with, if route starts with our this, so we need to specify these cases for all routes here. Okay. In those cases, let's say for this case, what we want to specify is, let's say just hash. Don't specify the tabs there. Okay. This will be used. Now we are using the when, so we need to use it like this. Let's add else as well here. So in case of detail dot root, we can use detail. Hash is must. We need to use that. And let's say from here, let's say we pick up the arguments. This is the argument we are using. Okay. So here we can pass this ID. This can be our custom route. Okay. Yeah, this was mistake. My bad. So we don't need to use this. So if you see, okay, this one for detail, it will be like how it will be. It will be hash detail slash ID like this. Okay. And then let's say for search, we can keep it as it is. Okay. Now let's try to run it. Oh, sorry, I forgot one thing. So let me show you first running it. I will then show you what thing we need to add. Again, it's causing it. Not sure why we are started getting these kind of exceptions. DS stores. Okay. So we need to apply some custom logic as well to extract these routes because we are using our own custom routes. So Compose will not be able to detect what is the ID here and anything. I will show you now. For that, we need to add some code here. If you see now for the tabs, it's not using tabs here. It's applying our own logic. But and for search as well, if you see, no, for search it didn't work. I will check it. For detail, if you see, it's working now. But what will happen? It will work now. But if we copy and open in URL again, if you see, it's redirected. Here it's not able to detect that it is the detail route. So for that, we need to apply our own logic because we are using our own custom routes. Because by default, Compose knows what is the route. By default, it is like this and then ID like this. Okay. but we have defined our own routes. For we need to tell Compose how to interpret that route, how to translate that route. Okay. So for that, what we need to do is we need to define one route. We need to get what is the route from the window dot location dot hash fragment dot substring after hash. Okay. And what is missing delimiter value empty. In case hash is not there, it will return empty. Okay. And now what we need to do? So we need to apply our own logic here. So when starts with detail, it will pick up string after hash and detect the what is the route we have defined. If it starts with detail, let's say this is our custom logic. But if we have specified something else there, we would have applied that check here for detail. Okay. Here we need to pick up the ID and use the nav controller to navigate our own logic. After detail, we need to get our. So after this, we have our own ID. If you see what we have defined here, right? We need to pick up this ID. For that, we need to apply our own logic, and then nav controller dot navigate. Now we need to navigate detail dot root dot. If you see in the detail navigation, we have already applied this logic, kind of this. We can pick it up. Okay, like this. It will navigate to detail. And else, let's say if something we have applied for others as well, some different routes, then we can navigate accordingly. Search dot route. Okay, rest of the things are same. For route it will work. Let's rerun it and make sure this code is before this bind to navigation. Okay, let's delete this again. Don't know why this issue is happening a lot. I'm just facing like it now. Before that, I was not facing it. This is called custom format processing because we have used our own custom route. These for these we need to process them. Why? Because Compose does not know about this structure. Compose knows about like this default structure what Compose has specified. That's why we need to process that. We need to detect what is the route from the URL, and then we need to detect that. So if you see here, okay, so this is route, and then if you go here, and now if I see, it should work. Yeah, if you see, it's working now. If even if I am reloading, it's working fine. Okay, that's pretty fine. Now we can use these control buttons. Here there was nothing before that. That's why it cleared. So here, if there is something, it will go back. Otherwise, let's say this is the route. Let's start from route now. I will show you again. Maybe some issues there. Let's try to rerun it. Yeah, a little bit some issues may be existing there in the web version. You may find some. So if you see, we are starting from here. We went here. If we go back, it's working pretty fine. If we go to search, so for search, it is not working. Maybe something is wrong. Yeah. So here we need to apply search. Okay. So if you see, it's working pretty fine. Now the question is, I will show you, can we do this without hash? I tried doing that, but to be honest, it will not work because it requires hash to detect the root for Compose compiler. Okay, for Compose navigation system. Let's rerun it. So I will show you that thing now. But make sure for custom routes, you need to define this processing logic for all the routes. If you have defined custom routes for them. Okay. So if I show you, let's say, so what will happen is in that case, if I show you, like if we remove the hash here, it will not be able to detect where to navigate, right? I think you got my point. Here we are detecting on the basis of hash. Let me show you this as well. Now it's irritating. It's happening too much. I will check it later on. Okay. So if I show you, maybe it's happening due to .ds store file committed by mistake, or maybe I will check that. In the Mac, it happens. So if you see, if I go to detail, it's working fine. Hash is removed. But for this, it is not able to detect root. Why? Because there is no hash. It is not able to detect the root. Okay. So as of now, we need, the hash is must. So we need to use that. So that's all about these videos, guys. So now if you see in this UI, so now we have complete control of the browser navigation as well, browser history with our Compose navigation. So what we can do is, now if you see, we have specified our own buttons here, right? If you see these back. So now you can adjust these UIs for the web platform. For the web platform, you can apply a check there if platform is web. Okay. So then what you can do is, so then according to that, if suppose it is only detail. Okay. So here what will happen is you can remove these buttons because we can directly use this. And you can also, if you want to restrict UI to some like fixed width, you can apply those changes as well so that it will look more better on the web version. So you can remove these back buttons according to your own, depending upon the platform. Here also you can remove these things. Okay, because search is already there. So you can adjust the UI, so make it better on the web. So that's all about this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. This is pretty cool. And recently, Compose Multiplatform become stable for iOS, but and now we got some updates. And in this similar version, we got these updates for web as well. And these things you can run for Wasm.js as well. They are same. Okay, so that's the cool update. I'm enjoying it. So yeah, now it's all about this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you have enjoyed it, please like, share, and comment on it. And please consider subscribing. That will motivate me to create more videos like this. And I will see you in another video with another cool content. Till then, bye bye. Take care. Have a great time. Keep coding.